All right, people. Tell me what. Okay, sorry about that. Rev.Hawksblood here, from the Big Island of Hawaii. Just trying to get ready was pretty much of a problem because I'm trying to deal with Twitter, now called X. I'm talking about Kamala, and everybody's fighting over who's doing what and what and what. But Mr. Musk is making a complete shambles of it, destroying it at any level, of it being a good site to go to for any reason. All right. If you don't know, it's actually Trump's platform now. 90% of people writing about Trump or Trump writing, or his people writing. Most of it's lies, probably all of it's lies, twisted truth, and everything else besides that. Well, we're going to start in the beginning and work our way through this, hopefully. Uh, what's the problem in the beginning is how mankind was created, how mankind was brought here, where it came from, how it got here, by who, where, when. All right. Now, there's so many things that are out there trying to tell you exactly what's going on, how we got here, how we were populated here, and things like that. I got a lot of noise. Let me see if I can just cut some of it down. It's pretty hot here today, but that's no problem for me. Let me just close this window. Sorry about that. Oh, my nice shirt. Oh. All right. Let's get somewhere important. In the beginning, who was here to say when the actual beginning was? We go back as far as the first religion. I'm doing good today. First religion was basically Hinduism. At that time, the word God was not there. No such word as God. It was called deities. That whole religion was based on sex, sexual energy. And later on, it became a major split, and it actually became into Buddhism. All right. And when that happened, more deities were added. Not God, more deities were added. Buddhism has like 130. Hinduism has their own set number. There's only about 2 deities that exist in both paths. There was 28 Buddhas. Not sure they were all saying the same thing because most Buddhism that exists today only follow 3 of them in their teachings. All right. But that's just one religion. How did all the other religions come out and about? What was going on in the world at that time? Well, I can tell you what I know. And the word is reincarnation. Right now, I say I'm an initiate, incarnating, because I'm aware and everything else, why I came in and all that, why I want to leave, and you name it. But basically, incarnation means somebody coming back because they have to or want to, but the wanting to is not the basic needs of normal thinking, like, well, I got to take care of my family. That's not going to happen no matter what you do. So let's go back further, back in religions. The Egyptians, Mayans, Aztecs, and all the other religions that were here, or paths, call it what you want, were pretty much screwed up, twisted lies. When you go into hieroglyphics and writings and picture artwork, it comes into translations. But if you see a 12-foot being like this with a little guy, and guess what? What's it mean? Something big and creature, whatever. It doesn't mean a fish or a baseball bat. It means what it means. They had very little artwork at that time, able to draw anything decent. All that time frame, they couldn't draw anything really great. Why is that? Then all of a sudden we got beautiful artwork and everything else. Well, the human race had different teachers. for a word, I would use not teachers controlling entities, because in Atlantis, which was actually the first time humans were here, and there were 9 races, was so different. They didn't have to use the word God, but they were an aspect of what they believed it to be. All right. They didn't kill. They didn't eat animals. They didn't do torture. They didn't sacrifice. They lived on fruits and vegetables. They didn't have to talk. They were psychic. They had 32 psychic abilities, which people get. If anybody ever goes through ascension, they will get them. All right, which doesn't happen. Only 2 people I know all through history, not just our history, all ancient history, people have gone through that. Obvious, Jesus was one of them. And the other one people don't even accept was Mary Magdalene. But I don't want to go into that too deep right yet. We got to get to the point where people, what are they doing? What are they following, and why? Why, if I give you truth, if you even listen to it, you're going to twist it and make it mean something stupid, ridiculous, or just the opposite of what I'm trying to say. All right. Now, I had dyslexia, and I say things, I write and do things backwards and stuff like that. I'm sorry about that. But when you talk about, well, I'm talking about God, and they'll talk about the universe. I'm talking about universe. Oh, they're talking about animals. Most religions, the first actual so-called religion, were beings that worked and worshipped animals before there was any kind of human aspect of a god. Right? Native people followed animals more so than not, and their gods was the sun and the moon. So, you know, we look at what we have at the time, what kind of language we spoke, and what were we dealing with. The number one thing all through history was sex, having children. And different religions, different paths, always have a different reason for having children. Name one, keeping their name going. Then if you didn't like women, you had children, girls killed. If you didn't like men, whatever the story was. I mean, some countries, women grew up having 3 husbands. In Tibet, it's allowed. Children are allowed to get married, things like that. In the United States, it's still fighting to stop young girls from being able to get married. It's still legal in certain states. 16 can get married. But then again, other countries, there's no age limit, which is pathetic in my viewpoint, but it might be okay in yours, depending on what religion you're in. Muslims have their own beliefs about children. The Hasidic Jewish people have their beliefs about sex and birth. They have twisted ideas about everything. When I say twisted, means it goes against the normal grain of life. The right to be free, follow your dreams, and not hurt other people. It's not complicated. We can't do that. Can't accept people for what and who they are. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Well, do we have to change morals? We do. Because if there's 10 million people, it takes one person to say, I'm not like that. I like sex with a I'm not going to say words. They have to rearrange it for that person? Why is that, people? Well, it's freedom for that one person. Why not freedom for 100 million more people that have different ideas? Are we going to take anybody else's ideas? It seems like whatever is twisted, they'll accept it. Now, a law becomes law because the majority of the people around that law accept it. Now, I'll tell you this for a fact. Crazy people, I'd say 80% of them are anything but crazy. Just because you don't live by society's rules doesn't make you crazy. Society created the rules, not God. And if you believe that, like nakedness, I mean, Moses was so against it. He created 63 laws, and half of them about naked. Being naked, seeing your daughter, niece, cousin, anybody naked, blah, 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 and all these things that followed. And everything he wrote. After the 10 Commandments came out, he wrote these laws. Not one person in this physical world could live by them. The Hasidic Jews say they do, and I worked in Jewish families' homes and stuff like that. They're anything but following those kind of laws. So, as time goes on, we're approaching D-Day. End times, call it what you want. It's in the Bible. Don't believe in the Bible. It's in a lot of the prophecies. But how and why? Mankind has not adapted to growth in a physical way, in a spiritual way, in a mind way. I mean, building your body super strong, trying to live another 100 years is not building what you need to be building. It's called awareness of life and death. The only two things you're going to have to go through and do go through. I mean, birth, then life, and then death. So when we talk about a religion, let's go through, how many religions are there? Over 2,000. Only two of them, Muslims and Christianity, have the highest number. Christianity has 2.5 billion. Muslims have 2.3 billion. And then you got, 1,000 other religions to split the rest of the population in. Then you got the atheist, which is another percentage. All right. So guess what? The world is pretty set in different rules, regulations, and a way to live life. Now, most of these religions try to control their people. Christianity, Muslims, the Hasidic Jewish people. They got to live by laws, and they're ridiculous laws. And if I went into them, I would hope it would make you sick. Especially the Hasidic laws, which, we don't do that. But they do. Even when a girl wants to get married, what she has to do. But what's funny? All these things is never about a man doing anything. All right? In the Hasidic Jewish religion, the woman has to be a virgin. But what's a man have to be? A bullshit artist. All right? It's horrible the way mankind thinks they can control everything. The way a girl does her movements, actions, thinks, functions. She has to conform to man's ego. And if it isn't, she's considered different and bad. But that's two religions that are pretty critical with controlling the planet. All the wars we had were based out of Christianity. And then we had the going back to Egyptians, the Mayans, and the Aztecs. All right. They were not working with humans, people. You could say whatever you want, believe whatever you want, but the truth is there. If you want it, I'll tell you what it is. Not maybes, not could be's. They're ridiculous words to use if you're trying to talk about something. Well, maybe, or it could be. No, there's no such words as that. When they changed the word UFO to unidentified phenomena, aerial phenomena, really, phenomena is not a ship, it's not an alien. So they want to take the attention off of what it truly is. Bigfoot, Sasquatch. They give it a couple different names, but it's still what it is what it is, and it is real. Okay, the Loch Ness Monster, they're still trying to prove that. But these little things that take up people's attention and do more movies about still doesn't help mankind move forward in growth, in awareness. Ancient aliens been around, roughly 16 years now, and you'll still see the same pyramid, and you'll hear somebody, well, guess what? We figured it out. It could be this. Or maybe they did this. Or maybe that. Or maybe this, that, or the other thing. Now, what it's used for. People, if you had a brain, hopefully some of you out there might or should or do. When you go into thinking, how do you think about pyramids? What are they there for? What did they do? Well, they could have this. Well, they're there. So they were built. Why? All right. To save people? Who did it save? Nobody. To make people bigger? Anything? Any of those words? What were they built for? Nothing useful for the human race, people. It'll never be beneficial for us. What they carved in the pyramids, the Egyptians had no clue of reincarnation. No, they believed in it, but they didn't know what it was, what it really was, or how to get there, or what it does when you get there, and what happens when you come back. You don't immortalize a body to come back to the body. It never worked, did it? But they were working with aliens. Aliens, people, not other tribal people. Most tribal people work with aliens. Any tribe. Even the native people in the United States. Say they work with the star beings, which were the Greys. The Greys were always here, and so were the reptilians. The giants were here. They were all taken out. Why? They were 10 times bigger than everybody in general. Why did they get wiped out? Why was the story of David and Goliath the only story in the Bible when they took the book of Enoch out? You know, history is condemned to us. The truth. They want to feed us stories. Nowhere in the United States did they teach anything true about Native people in schools. In any school. Now, and right now, try to find a TV show on TV about Native people. What's going on, what they're doing. Vice Channel is the only channel that takes up things like Native problems. Like when Mr. Trumpo was president, allowing them to torture all those Native people fighting the pipeline. All right, he supports it. Then he came up and he's going to pass a bill. Anybody get caught trying to stop it will get 25 years in jail. Mr. Trumpo! And then what's he do? He pays this Native guy to come out. He's dressed in full regalia, big headdress. All Native people love Trump. What planet was he talking about? And who was he really talking about? The lies that comes out of Trump's mouth and what he wants to do is so evil, people. How can anybody stand by it? And now, even Hillary's partners talked about guns. Guns are usable and can be used in the right way. But when they're not, there should be major laws on that from happening. They're not trying to stop all guns. Rapid-fire machine guns and things like that. Selling them to people that have a bad record. I mean, guess what? And I was always told, and I believe it, I had one. And I was ready to use it, so I had to get rid of it. You have something, you're going to use it. Why have it if you're not going to use it or try to use it? So the school shootings and all those kind of things, a lot of them could have been stopped in so many different ways. Even a simple law about having a lockbox for a gun. So the children can't take them. I was, 14 with a bunch of kids babysitting, and all the kids was going through the people's drawers, dresser drawers and things like that, pulled out a gun and things like that. You know, when you don't know reality, like people don't think good ever. Well, we're all good. No, we're not. But something bad's going to happen sooner or later. And it's always sooner than later right now. And times have been changing where things are just getting worse, not better. And if Trump thinks because he's got the gun people on his side, which they are, they all want to have a gun. Well, guess what? How many more people are going to get shot? How many more children are going to get shot? How many children are going to shoot their own father or mother or themselves? I mean, when I tried to get a gun license, I had to go to school, to a class, and everything else. And that should be the same. And drinking records and all that kind of stuff. You want to give a drunk a gun? It's like putting a drunk in a car. Same thing. In Hawaii, we just had a person take a plow and push 2 cars into a house. People next door. And they all started shooting. 4 people were killed. 2 were put in the hospital, injured. And one of the persons fired back and finally shot the person that was destroying their house. But when's it going to stop? If they didn't have guns, that would have never happened. Mr. Trump getting shot in a year would have never happened if people weren't walking around with guns. And they knew it. How's that happen? Everything about that's a fake story. Why, when he was shot, did they take him away in an army car? You get shot. Most people, anywhere, watch anything. They put him in an ambulance, not an army vehicle. All right? Trump makes a big deal about getting a little pinhole in his ear. Maybe if it was shot an inch away from his heart and almost died, it might be a major thing. Oh, it's going to be the most important event in history. No, Lincoln getting shot was. Kennedy getting shot was. You getting nicked in the ear is going to make a major record in history. Oh, he almost got shot. Almost doesn't count. Look at the other presidents that were shot at. People, we're going into a very serious time. If Trump gets in, the world will be destroyed within 10, I say 10, but no, it'd be destroyed in 6 years. Will be destroyed greatly in 6 years. Not just because of him, because he won't fight what's happening. UN Agenda -30 is in full swing. It's at stage 5. It's called population depletion. Trump's an evil enough person to go along with it. Well, saying everybody coming into the United States is bad. Most ridiculous statement. They're all people. He doesn't even know the history of the wall before he even got involved with it. How many children were dying in the deserts and stuff before they even got to the wall? He doesn't know half of the story about it. These people paid to these people would pay these people to drive them to it, and they would dump them off halfway there and drive back. Those people would have no food and die. My brother's son was on the Border Patrol for almost 2 years. And he said how many numbers of thousands died in a week's time. And these were good people, not bad, rotten people. And all the bad names he gives people. People are people. And if you compare all the bad people in the United States with the people coming in, guess which number outweighs the percentage? How many rapes, murders, shootings, stealing, robberies are committed in the United States daily? The percentage of rape is super high. It's like 8%, 8 out of 10. By the time they're 40, a woman will be sexually abused. And under 16, it's even worse. People, and these aren't the people coming in over the border. You talk to a psychiatrist, how many men think of having sex with their child? There's things that are horrible. And it's not bad people coming in. It's the bad people that were originally here. Where did Trump's family come from? How did they get in here? Who invited them in? Who let them in? When people were brought here, they just came in, and then they said, hey, we got Indians here. Let's kill them all. The poor Native people were slaughtered. 50 million Native people. Because the white man wanted everything. There was no such thing as a prayer pipe or a peace pipe. No, it was called a prayer pipe. Because a peace pipe meant there was peace. Just because they smoked with a Native person, they said, oh, we're peaceful now. No, you're not, because you're going to kill them anyway. They always prayed, but prayer doesn't help anybody, people. In history, prayer always existed. And we're at the worst time in the United States history and the world history ever than before. How's that possible? The weapons that we have been using or are using right now are 10 times more dangerous than a nuclear bomb, people, whether you know that or not. The spaceship the United States is releasing will have every weapon known to man on it, plus the weapons they don't even know about. Tesla gave the United States 50 deadly, major, horrible weapons. I'm not going to go into that story. But basically, weapons that are being used now, people can't even prove that they're using them. And I could go on and on about that, people. But you don't care. You don't want to hear, oh, I want to hear something good. Good, you're going to die. Bad, you're probably going to reincarnate. Good, if you're an aware being, you don't have to reincarnate. There's a lot of things that are good and bad. But if you only look for the good stuff that you think is good, you're in a bad case. Thinking you're going to go to heaven. Mr. Rumpo has a picture of an angel in back of him. He's on his knees praying. Praying to what? God? You think God's going to sit down and listen to a blank, blank, blank? Really? For what reason? Make him president to do what? Blank, 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 blank. I've been losing so many videos to YouTube because you're not allowed to say much here anymore. They're censoring everything. Now, even Mr. Trumpo is on X all the time. He can say whatever he wants. I lost my premium site there. I'm still paying for it because I was attacking Musk and Trump together. And I said, you talk about saving the planet, saving the world, and you're spending all this money for space and supporting Trump. How is it saving the planet? I said, if you donated half of the money you spend on a space program, you could solve half of the poverty in the United States. People, you care about people. People with money are evil. All of them. Because they come out and say something nice or try to do something nice here. Oprah, when she gave away 100 cars, she didn't buy them cars. But she came out for Kamala, which I was blown away, because she's definitely a Republican, not a Democrat. But when she said, well, we got to support, because she was black and a woman, I would say it's probably the only reason. If she wasn't a black woman, Oprah wouldn't have came out and switched over and tried to get her in. All right. Trump, I mean, we don't even want to say what he's into. Nothing important. And he just put up that he's going to come out and put out the list of the Lolita Ranch and all that. I just put a picture up on that site of him with a little girl on their lap. That was all over the internet for a long time. So he's going to say, I have the list, and he's going to release it. Epstein, really? What, are you going to scratch your name off of it and just give everybody else's name? Well, he didn't commit suicide in jail, people. And I could give you multiple reasons why he didn't and proof that he didn't, but it doesn't matter. He was killed because he could have put all those people in jail with him. All the people. And Trump comes out, I'm going to give the name of all of them. Is Trump's name going to be on there? Go to the Playboy Club. How come Trump went to the Playboy Club? There was a special just came out about a month ago of all the women that worked at Playboy Club, all saying they had to do things because the people in power controlled them. That's called fear, control. Rich people, that's all they know. Now, let's get to the Constitution before we go into religion. When was the Constitution created? When they were coming in and gold mining and all that? No. They had sheriffs, deputies, and marshals, all those kind of words. But what did they create? When did they create a government system? We could go back to George Washington. What was he doing? He was with Jefferson. What was he doing? All they were doing was killing Native people. They stole part of the Constitution to create it. You think the eagle on the bill with the talon and all the arrows in its claws don't mean anything? It's the most important statement the Native people made. People, the truth is there. But they killed 50 million Native people. Left 1 million Native people here in the United States alive. So what kind of people do you think Trump would say, oh, they're all good people? Jefferson was evil. Before he became president, he was riding along the southern part of the United States, killing every tribe he could. George Washington, every time he gave the okay to let one tribe survive, he made the orders to kill 2 others. And little by little, they would decrease, and there was 600 tribes, roughly. But people, you want to believe people are good? There are none. This is hell. This is as bad as it's ever going to get for you. Oh, I'm going to go to hell. No, the Pope came out and said hell doesn't exist. That's because he's in it, and he's alive in it right now. This is the only place where you can experience pain and suffering, see it, and create it as well. You can kill people here. You can't kill people in your astral body. You cannot. All right, and the worlds beyond that just get better. So when you think you're in heaven, when you die and leave here, you're in the astral plane for a short period of time, anywhere from 5 to 10 of our years. And during that time frame, you get a smidgen of the truth, and you're thrown back here, but guess what happens? You forget all your past lives, and you start all over. It's sad, because you're not learning much in a lifetime. Having children, getting a good paying job, building a great house has nothing to do with death and what happens after. Money, on the other hand, corrupts the way you think on everything you do. People, I'm not making this up. If you're a Christian and believe in the Bible, Jesus said in it 3 times, it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than a rich person to get into heaven. All right, why would he say that? Because it's true. Now, all right, in Revelations, John wrote Revelations, if you don't know that either, but he gives his truth. He says what sins cannot be forgiven. Sorry about that. You know, I always get cold when I'm not supposed. I should have shut it off. But people, look, Revelations is important for Christians because it says you can't be forgiven for the sins that you think you're being forgiven for. Read it. If you have any kind of reality of believing in Christianity, read Revelations 3 times, because you'll probably even read over it the first time. Second time you might hear it and not hear it, but the third time hopefully you'll hear it and understand what John's saying. He doesn't talk about 9 angels either. There's hundreds of angels, people. Everybody doesn't get to work with Gabriel, like the Muslims believe. Michael. All right, everybody claims to work with Michael. All right. You know, we could say what we want. They all have their agenda of what they need to do and have to do. The same as you do in this life, whether you follow it through or not. All right. Now, Gabriel is one of the most famous angels, I guess. But nobody talks about it because they condemned an angel. All right. The name was Lucifer. An angel. The highest angel on the 4th level of existence in the inner worlds, outer worlds, how we want to look at it, was thrown down into the astral plane with all the other so-called 9 angels. None of them got to stay up there because they were all fighting. And they were in the wrong place to do that. So when you say, oh, I'm working with Gabriel, so what? Are you working with God? Do you understand any of the higher deities for a word? Every realm from this world to the astral plane, mental, causal, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th worlds, there's a deity there. I call them little gods, and people call everything God, which it isn't. Aliens were never God. They don't know what God is. And the Egyptians don't know what a real God is. The Mayans don't know what a real God is. When you worship an animal, you sure don't know what a God is. People, you've been programmed over and over and over, and it's sad. You know, I'm going to put this video up over a couple times this week. I'm going to put it on Brighteon and a couple other places. I know people don't want to hear anything really important. They don't want to know about the war going on right now, how many people died last night. It's not affecting them right now. When it's knocking at their door, they want to have a gun and be able to shoot their way through what? An army? They might get a couple shots out, get to kill a couple people before they get killed. People, you're in a real world, not a dream, like kind of what Buddha said, this is all a dream, this is all an illusion. It's not. If you believe that, well, if it was a sick dream, why wouldn't you change it? Well, this dream sucks. I'm going to make a new one. And do it! Instead of living in a super lousy dream. Nothing good is happening. With the Antarctic and Alaska, you name it. There's problems everywhere going on. The ozone layer around the planet. Never mind what aliens are doing here, and people don't even want to know that or hear that. But they think aliens are going to help us. And you know what most people's philosophy is? Take a guess. Well, there's good and bad in everything. Well, it depends what you call good and bad. We're a human race. Yes, you can say we're good and bad, but we're a human race. We all do need the same thing. Food, shower, go to the bathroom, things like that. We all do the same thing. But aliens are different. What do they eat? What do they drink? How can they fly at super incredible speeds? How can they do things? This ship's going into the sun, even, people, whether you want to know it. Ships are going into the volcano. All right, how can they do that? Because they're not human. and like you and me. Their agenda is anything but let's have children and get a nice house. If that was their agenda, don't you think they'd be here helping us build better places that they could live in? The underground cities weren't even created by aliens. It's the people that know what's going to happen to the planet and the radiation and everything else. They said, well, let's get our city built. There's multiple cities in the United States alone, and nobody, Trump or Biden, talks about that. Why is that? Neither one of them talk about aliens. Trump came out with, well, he created a space army. Why? Because he talked to Putin, and Putin told him two things to do. And this is a fact, people. 3 months before Trump was elected president, Putin on Russian TV said these words, slightly twisted because I had it being translated when he was speaking. I want you to tell the world what really happened at 9/11. That's the first thing he told Trump to do. Then he said, I want you to tell the world what you're doing with aliens. Second thing he told Trump to do. Then Mr. Putin said, we are working with aliens. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. How would you know that? The United States knew that. I know I was in the UFO world most of my life. The speakers, one of the top speakers who is now dead, admitted that, talked about it. He said there's 27 races. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. But those races that are here aren't helping us. Oh, well, I was in a car accident. I was taken out of the car. Well, how do you know it was an alien? How do you know it wasn't an angel? How do you know it wasn't a deity? Or even a demon. Demons do things to win you over, the same as angels do things to win you over. Or help you believe in something. And a belief isn't what you need. You need an actual experience with something to understand it. If I describe an apple and tell you how it tastes and what it looks like, is that going to help you understand what an apple really is? Oh, it tastes like an apple. Well, what's an apple taste like? Don't name another fruit, because if you didn't see the other fruit, you wouldn't be able to name that either. We base our stuff on our programming. Religions now, Christianity has been the main root for all major wars. I mean, the Irish have been fighting how long? I mean, the Catholics and Protestants there. I mean, it's, religion's always about whose God's better. You know the problem with whose God's better? Not one of them knows God. Oh, they pray to God. Then they respect God? In what way? How do you respect God? Why don't you go around killing people? Do you beat your kids when they're bad? Do you starve them? What do you do in life to make you say you're better than anybody else, or you're not doing bad things? Do you drive drunk? Ever? Do you overdrink? Ever? Do you do drugs? Ever? Do you cheat on your wife? Cheat on your husband? Ever? People, mankind is evil. That's why we're in hell. Aliens knew that because they created us that way. They didn't create us as a body and a human. They created the way we think. Look at the Mayans. Look at the Egyptians. Well, let's immortalize them. Let's do this. Let's break their skull open, take their brain out, break their jaw, blah, blah, blah. And they found, 140 skeletons that they did that to? And I know a video, I don't know where it went, what show it was on, but it was a History Channel many years ago. They opened this cave, and I think there was about 120 skeletons in there, sitting all different ways. But they all had a circular cut out of their skull. You know why? They needed something inside the human's brain. We all have a microscopic crystal inside the brain. It's what actually produces the adrenaline in your body. All right, but it records your life. It records everything. So they took it out to see what was going on. So when the Egyptians were doing all kinds of weird stuff, they didn't know why they were doing it. They were going to make them come back again. Really? by taking his brain out of his skull. You know, all these, and they show you the steps of reincarnation and all that. They don't know. They don't have a clue. They didn't deal with God. You can't understand heaven if you can't understand God. Because you don't take this body with you. You don't use a male or a female body ever in the higher realms, which only means up to the 5th level. But you don't use the physical body anymore. The 3rd realm, there's no more such thing as sex even. So many people won't even want to go there because they hear that. Well, what else is there? In their mind, nothing. People, religions teach to pray. Buddhism teaches you to meditate and do tantras and all this stuff. I look at it, it's hard because I live with a Buddhist Lama. And their teachings are so locked in and programmed. All right. Tibet was taken. I can't talk about it because my partner's coming home. Tibetan Buddhism. They destroyed Tibet. China took it over. Destroyed 250 temples. Killed hundreds and hundreds of lamas and raped the women and put a lot of people in prison just because they had the Dalai Lama's sign up or picture up or whatever. So, hold on one split second. People, you can believe what you want, but it's not going to help you. If you don't spend your life, whatever is left of it, trying to understand why you really came here, what you're supposed to do, and where you're going to go when you die, it's all useless. Having a family, if you sat there and prayed your whole life, what did it do? Oh, I prayed for the world. The world's becoming worse. And we got more and more people praying every day. How's that possible? Because prayer is a man-created idea. And I mean, if you read the Lord's Prayer, if you know what it is, I'm sure Trump has no clue what it means even. It's not bad. The same as the 10 Commandments are not bad. Nothing in the 10 Commandments talk about allowing you to kill somebody, abuse your family, and things like that. It's missing a lot. It's only parts of it. But it's still beneficial to live by that than not. Now, Moses' laws of 263 laws, if you see something bad, pluck your eyes out, all those kind of wordings and stuff like that, it's ridiculous. And then in the Bible, people, Christianity says that he said, when you do things, and they were going into all that, but it's not true because Jesus never said Moses was right. And in the Bible it says Jesus said Moses had it right. He didn't. Moses was a black magician, people. When something kills somebody, it's called black magic. When something heals somebody, it's called white magic. He was a black magician all the way. The highest known that I know in all the reincarnations that I went through. All right. What did he do that was good? What did he do that was good, people? Do you even know that? Do you know the story? Oh, he brought these people out of prison and brought them to the promised land. What was the promised land? Another piece of land. What was on that piece of land when they got there? People! Guess what they did? Kill them all to take over the land. Does that look like a way to start a spiritual movement forward? Death is probably the most easiest, safest way to get out of here in a moment's time without creating karma. I mean, because when we live, the actions we do more so create karma than take away karma. Ask people, how do you make karma? Well, if I beat somebody up, if I shoot somebody. No. When you use God's name in vain, that's a statement in the commandments. How many people do it? Everybody! Everybody know. Whatever their God is, they'll curse it out and blame God for their problem. I don't. You have to know things are wrong and why. where we actually came from, why we're here. I do classes on that. I do workshops on that. I have a few people. I have a couple students, but I'm not here to change the world. Jesus, the most spiritual person ever to walk this planet, was killed, and his teachings never survived. That's why I put that book out. Now, when he died, why did he die? Not to save all those people's sorry ass, no. What did he tell a person when he healed a person or different situations? Go out and sin no more. Sin no more. He didn't say come back next week and I'll forgive you again, which Christianity made it to mean. All right, say 25 Hail Marys or 2,000 Hail Marys and it's forgiven. Read Revelations. John says sins can't be forgiven. The sins that we call sins anyway. But in other religions, praying. The native people prayed, they got slaughtered. Tibetan people prayed, they got slaughtered. So where's prayer helping people? Now, what are you praying for? To change the world? In what way? Do you know the best way for this world to be changed? Not trying to change it. The world doesn't need us. We need the world. Big difference there, people. It'll go through changes. It'll go through a lot of things. But it's us that's making things change faster and rapidly and more in a bad way than a good way. The ozone around the planet was to make plants and life and animals safe. When we destroy the ozone layer, we destroy life itself. Australia has one of the biggest holes in the ozone layer, and it's actually killing the koala bears and things like that. And children have to go to school with long-sleeve shirts on and stuff so they don't get burned and get cancer. It's a horrible thing. And then what's our scientists say? Oh, we can repair that right away. But they don't. What's up with that, people? Now, the things that are happening only show how bad we're becoming. Nothing shows how good we're becoming because we're not. But we got hundreds and hundreds of new age, I wish I could call them names, bad people saying they're good spiritual people, and they're going to help us become spiritual people, help us become sixth-dimensional beings, help us blah, 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 all the bullshit that they can come up with to create a belief system that we're going to be better. Better is not being able to, not picking up a gun to shoot somebody. It's picking up a knife to stab somebody. Intentionally. All right? Not cheating on your wife or your husband. Not beating your children. All those things are part of it. And if mankind could respect each and every other person around them and all people, you know how far we could advance to where we are right now? There'd be no limit, people. I mean, a spaceship was released in super high tech. But it's not going to help you or me. The underground cities are not going to help you or me. Only the rich people will be able to get under there. The New World Order, the amount of population depletion that they're creating, has nothing to do with the rich people. Considering what? They say 5% of the planet people is the rich people. So what they really want to get rid of is the poor, sick, and middle-class people. Now, in these underground cities, there's 10,000 people in each one of them already. Jesse Ventura was probably one of the most important whistleblowers that ever came out. And he did a show for 2.5 years. And if you didn't watch every show that he did, you were pretty dumb. He exposed everything there is to expose. For real, not make-believe. He exposed it. He went to FEMA camps. You saw little kids in cages and stuff on swings and stuff, but they were still prisoners. What they're going to be doing, why they created FEMA camps, why they created underground cities. He went to the home base of the New World Order. Is anybody concerned about it? It's in the Ozarks. It's got about a 10-foot, 6-foot wall, thick wall around it. It's right over one of the bases that are underground. He exposed both. You know, the people, listen, Alex Jones exposed the New World Order, but he's switching back and forth. Now he's for Trump. He's for anybody that's going to help him get out of his debt and his lies. But you can't be perfect, can't be honest, can't be real all the time. Can you or can't you? Well, you could try to be, and you could try not to put lies out there. Anything that's going to bounce back and hit you sooner or later, which most people do. Now, the next step is, how do you get started to move forward? Think about it. If I say, okay, you can move forward now, how are you going to do it? Go back home and pray 10 times more? Ask the minister, pope, rabbi, shaman, medicine man, who is God? What is God? They don't know. They don't know. They can't talk about it. I can. I do shows every few months on God alone. What is God? What does God care about? How could people down here say, well, I know I'm doing everything in the name of God? Really? Healing people? Are you healing good people or just healing anybody that comes to you with money? And what's healing people mean? Temporary removal of something from somebody? Go to a healer and tell them to heal you so you don't die. Oh, if you can heal people, heal the world. Just send the energy out there, heal the whole world. You know, people brainwash people. I was a hypnotist when I was young. I was hypnotizing my whole neighborhood when I was 14. Then I went into past life regression. Then I went into psychic implant removals. I did all that. I learned a lot. I learned more than anybody else will learn because I was actually doing it. So you need to realize time's short. And it's getting shorter every day, every month, and every year. AI is going to be taken over soon. It's not fake. It's not a program. It will become a real entity. It already is. But they just did an interview with the highest robot mentality, recognized as one of the highest robots on the planet. Ask him about God. Oh, there's no God. How was the earth created? Oh, is this how? And it describes everything like it knows. How can a computer know anything other than the stupid programs people put in it? There's a big thing changing, people. Aliens are becoming more aggressive every which way. Personally, I was with somebody, we filmed more UFOs from 1996 to 2002 than anybody else in the United States and maybe the world. I did a show with Kerry Cassidy. I was on it for 9 months. I brought a co-host on who I did all my UFO work with. We had 1,200 people in there the next morning. We always had a couple hundred people on our chat room every night we did the show. People wanted to hear it. The problem was he was on the UFO side, I was on the spiritual side. And we kind of put it together all the time, even when we were out lecturing. But people don't want the truth about aliens. People don't want the truth about religion. People don't want the truth about God. So where are you going? Nowhere. Well, I just got a better job. I'm making $1,000 more a day. Good for you. What are you going to do with that? Buy a bigger house, bigger car, have more children? Is that saving mankind in any way? Helping mankind move forward in any way? Preachers, ministers, rabbis have a book to tell them what to do. I was becoming a born-again Christian. I went to church 6 days a week, 4 hours day and night. Then when it came time to sign the paper, I will donate 40% of my salary to the church. And I said, I'll donate whatever I can. Well, sign this for 40%. I said, that's a percentage. God didn't say I have to sign 40%. Well, you can't become a minister unless you sign it. I said, really? I became a minister anyway, but not through the born-again Christian church. But you got to walk around every day saying everything in the name of Jesus. All right. Jesus wasn't an egotistical person. Jesus never took credit himself for everything he did. He would refer it back to the person that he healed. Rich people take credit for everything they do. Ego takes credit for whatever it does. Trump is just one ball of ego. No soul, no consciousness, no awareness. Focus on who he can become and how he's going to control the world. Yes, the world, not just the United States. He thinks Putin's friends with him. He's going to have another guess if he does become president. But we're going to see a lot of super turmoil. What's he want to do? Take away parts of the police force, take apart the schooling, take apart everything. Social Security, welfare, disability, all those words, cut them down. And only the rich can survive? Well, you know the way they think? You're a billionaire, and you just bought a house. Sure wouldn't want to buy it on my block, but if they did, within a month, they would be in the most sorriest place of their lives, saying, I bought in the middle of the ghettos. What would be their next step? Move. But if they decide to stay, what would be their next step then? Eliminate the neighborhood. Different ways, multiple ways to do that. The rich don't care about the poor people. Never did. Rich people don't care about the middle class because somebody has to work and make money to pay the bills, and it's sure not going to be them. Rich people don't like to work. I live with one was a multi-billionaire family, one was 2 millionaire families. It's horrible the way they live. Controlled. They were never really, really nice to me. I mean, I got a job, I was able to live somewhere and all that. But you can't work more than 8 hours a day. I'm not going to pay you more than $10 an hour. I mean, I was taking care of 40 acres. And then taking care of the house. I was on the farm 3 weeks, and then I come to the house 1 week. But there was a shed there, barn, with maybe $4 million worth of crystals there. $4 million worth of crystals. And the other one had multiple numbers of crystals and stuff that I was working with my girlfriend at the time. You know, people, money changes everything, and it sure does. When you have to work for something, you appreciate it. If it's given to you, you don't. Rich people don't appreciate anything. Oh, sure, if they have a child and it's healthy. I mean, in China, they weren't happy to have a girl. They were having it killed or sent away or make a person pay a fortune to keep it. People, I'm not going to go much longer. I mean, I wanted to get into aliens, but I don't feel like I want to go that way today. They're not here to help us. They won't, never did. The Egyptians were ignorant, the Mayans, Aztecs, the Celtics, all of them. They didn't follow any truth. Well, the technology wasn't from planet Earth. It's not that complicated to see that. But technology isn't spiritual, and it doesn't help create awareness in a person. We haven't created one spiritual thing in 100 years. Why is that? How do you create something spiritual? People on this planet don't even know. My first book is How to See God. Simple steps to do and take and become part of in your life to help you move forward. Going to every college on this planet is not going to help you move forward spiritually. There's not one of them can talk about God. Not one of them can talk about death in a good way. Oh, we all die, our energy changes, blah, blah, blah. But life's not that, people. But if you listen to this, send this video out to everybody you can. My email address is hawksblood1@aol.com. Ask a question. Send it to me. I'll do a show on it. But wherever you are, whatever you're doing, hope it's a great day, night. Hope you got something out of today. I'm not here to make money. I'm only here to put out truth. Truth that I stand by until I die. Truth that I know is real. I had 5 death experiences. I was next to an alien. I was next to a Bigfoot. All right. I work with my guides, my angel, as well. My 5 death experiences gave me a lot of more knowledge and things where I went when I died and stuff like that. But it's all real, people. Could wake up tomorrow and say, "Oh, it's just a dream." The dream might have been, but you're still back in reality. All right, people. Hope you got something out of today. Till next time, Rev.Hawksblood here, Big Island of Hawaii. Remember, you're only going to be able to get awareness that you really need by focus on it, working on it, and don't stop until you leave this planet. Because anywhere along the way, you'll be sidetracked, like all the angels were. It's easy to get sidetracked. Find importance in something that's not really important. Well, till next time, people.